Hi there guys, it's Rick here. Hope you're all doing extremely well. I know, I am. Today we're going to take a look at 5 essential 7th arpeggio shapes that you really should know. I've been using these shapes for many years, and I kind of use these shapes as a template and then add notes to them to create different lines. So I use these kind of arpeggios all the time. And what we're going to do is we're going to start in we're going to keep everything in one tonal center, so we're going to keep everything in E, and we're going to play them in the same area of the fretboard. So in other words, root on the 5th string. Okay, so every single arpeggio we're going to play in this position. But what happens with each arpeggio, I'm going to put them in a specific order. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a major 7th arpeggio shape, then we're going to do a dominant 7th arpeggio shape, then minor 7, then minor 7 flat 5, then diminished 7th. So I always like to keep them in that specific order. It just makes a lot more sense, way more logical. Okay, so let's get straight to it. What we're going to do is we're going to start with an E major 7, and this is really the template upon which all the other shapes, the other formulas are based, okay, because the other arpeggios are simply just an alteration of this one shape, okay, one arpeggio. So we're going to start here, fret 7, and we're going to play. Okay. Okay, so that's our first shape. You'll notice, if you already know your arpeggios, that I'm actually playing 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so all I'm doing is substituting the root for the 9th. Purely because it's a real pain in the backside to play that shape. You should be able to do it technically, but I really much prefer substituting the root for the 9th, okay? But it's still generally a major 7th arpeggio. That's how I view it, okay? So, nice and slowly, so we go. A string, 7, 11, then D string 9, G string 8, 11, B string 9, top E string 7, 11. Okay. I'll talk about the way that we can articulate these a little bit later on. So that's our first arpeggio shape. Okay, so our second arpeggio shape, it's still a major type triad, but what we're going to do is we're going to take the 7th degree of that major 7th arpeggio and just lower it, and that gives us a dominant chord. So the formula for that is 1, 3, 5, flat 7. So we're taking the original 7th degree, which is diatonic to that key, and we're going to lower it by a step. We're also going to do the same thing that we did with tuning issues. Okay, so we're going to replace the root with a 9th degree, okay? Okay, that's the dominant 7th arpeggio. So it's exactly the same shape, but all we do is just lower that 7th degree. So you see what I mean by using the major arpeggio as a template and just altering according to the formula of the arpeggio that you're playing. Okay, so dominant. Fingering wise here, I'm going 1, 4, 2, 1, 4. On the B string I'm using 2 and then going to 1 and 3 at the top. It works really great, that fingering. Okay, so that's the dominant 7th arpeggio. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to flatten the 3rd degree of that. So we're going to keep the formula exactly the same, 1, 3, 5, 7, but we're going to take the 3rd degree and lower it. So we get 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. And that yields a minor 7th arpeggio. Okay, so again, all we're doing is altering one note at a time with each arpeggio. It's much more logical that way. It makes a lot more sense. So before we had, so now we're going to lower the 3rd. So we get this shape. Do it once more. Good. You'll hear me doing that all the time when I'm soloing. You know, it's just a very comfortable shape. Feels great to play. And again. Again, I'll use it as a template and just add notes to it. You know, that kind of thing. So this is how I use these arpeggios and why I deem them as being, you know, an integral part of my improvisation. So that's the minor 7 arpeggio. Right, now we're going to look at the minor 7 flat 5 again. We're starting where we left off. Okay, we're going to take a minor 7 arpeggio formula, 1 flat 3 5 flat 7, but we're going to flatten the 5th, so we get 1 flat 3 flat 5 flat 7. So before we had, here's the 5th, lower it. Great sounding arpeggio. Okay, so all we're doing is just literally lowering the 5th degree in every instance. So this is how easy it is. Once you compare your arpeggios to other arpeggios, it's so easy to just make a slight alteration to give you a different arpeggio just by using a different formula, you know, just changing one note. You know, that's the beauty of doing it this way. So finally we have, from our minor 7 flat 5, we're going to play a diminished 7th arpeggio. So before we had 1 flat 3 flat 5 flat 7, what we're going to do is we're going to take that flat 7 and we're going to play a double flat 7, which sounds the same as a 6th degree, but theoretically we need to call it a double flat 7. Okay? Minor 7 flat 5, diminished 7th. Okay, then continuing on. You'll have played these arpeggios or heard them a lot, especially when in minor thirds. That's just the very nature of this arpeggio being a symmetrical, coming from a symmetrical scale. Okay, so what we have is 7, 10, 8, 6. I'm using 1, 3, 2, 1 here, so 6, 9, 8, 6, 9. In fact, I actually swap between using just first, second and third, and first, third and fourth. You know, just find a fingering that works for you and you know, stick with that. You know, that's the best thing. So those are our 5 essential 7th arpeggio shapes, and I deem them totally essential when it comes to improvisation. The way that I articulate these is more of a more of a sort of legato kind of articulation rather than picking every single note. But you know, it's important to try various different ways of articulating these shapes, you know, depending on what kind of sound that you're going for. So I like to vary them. So what I usually do is actually pick the first note on every string, hammer the next, and then when I descend, do left hand only. You know, it really flows. You know, it's got that fluid sound, but you know, what I would say is that you investigate various ways of articulating these shapes. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. If you want more lessons, make sure you head onto my website. I've got a whole ton of downloadable content over there, so I'll leave the link in the description box below. Please check that out, and it's a great way of supporting what I do, so I can make more videos like this. I also do Skype lessons at the moment, so I'll leave the link in the description box below if you're interested in those. Okay, hope you've enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.